can't hold this anymore. Understand me anymore. To tread this fantasy openly, what have I done? Oh, this uncertainty has taken me over.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
I can't hold this stage anymore.
Giving you all a chance to get in here.
Recognize to tread this fantasy openly, what have I done?
Shalom, shalom, wise solid speaking. I want to do this deep video today. Yeah, hit that like button. Let me know if I'm loud enough over the music. Thank you, K-Flame. Now I'm a little sick. From the smoke. But I'm going to try to get through this anyway. I know it's from the smoke because I got this taste in my mouth. But it's okay because the world already ended in 2020. It's a process, you know. 70. Salam. Now let's get to this deep video. Some mood music going. Now let's start with a little jewel. I know everyone likes jewels to apply to their life. Lesson on lower vibrations. This is the jewel. Envy is a lower vibration, a lesser key or tone. Now, of course, there's others, but let's deal with this one. This is the most important one in regards to the times. Peace and wisdom, Jimmy Infinity, and the rest of the channel members. It's a lot of y'all. Now, envy is the ego, and its descended glory. Envy and arrogance both being expressions of the ego, the highs and lows of it. So most of you probably view ego and envy as separate things, but they're not. Envy is the ego. Arrogance is another expression of the ego as well, when the ego is high. Envy being that same ego when it's low. So envy is like the descending ego when the ego doesn't get its way. I am pink cocaine. She said my throat's starting to get scratchy today. Yeah, a lot of y'all are gonna have a immune system and throat problems because of that smoke. You have to get real. Whatever you think happened is cool, but the smoke part is real. And it happened yesterday and they didn't say nothing. I had my window open. You follow? And the first time it happened, the same thing. I had my window open, so it kind of got inside my house. Breathing that in all the time. And I keep wondering, like, what is that? It's like barbecue. Like when people having a cookout, let's say you right by the grill and they might throw water on it or something, and you kind of get that charcoaly, gassy taste. Like that. I'm like, who is barbecuing? I'm looking out the window, I don't see nobody. Then it hit me, I'm like, oh, it's probably up to their foolishness again. But it's like the World Trade Center, that kind of smoky stuff, that, you know, that kicking later. So you're gonna kind of try to work that out, like exercise that out, sweat that out, if you can. Now, hopefully I can get through this video. Like I said, I'm a little sick, but I'm not sick, it's that smoke. But like I was saying, ego or envy is the ego. The ego when it's descending. Arrogance is the ego when it's raising. Now, I don't want you guys to confuse ego in its expressions with confidence. Confidence is high because it stands on work. You follow? Arrogance or ego is just someone who's confident for no reason. You follow? Here's a perfect example. I would use myself, but I don't have egos. Mayweather. My lips is a little chapped. That's not because of the smoke. My lips is over. His lips look a little dry today. Yeah, that smoke. No, that's not the smoke. My lips is always crusty. That's regular. I don't want to hold you. Start giving the smoke all the glory. No. Go and check. My lips been there. I'm sorry. Let's keep everything on up and up. Now, like I said, don't confuse ego in its expressions with confidence. Confident person, they have their works they stand on. Give y'all an example. Think Mayweather. A lot of y'all view Mayweather as someone who has ego. But he doesn't have ego, he just has works. And because of those works, you get my point? It make him seem higher because he's standing on that. A person that's just arrogant or confident for no reason, they have nothing to stand on. Think Mayweather. He's 50-0. You won 50 fights? No, you didn't. Now, some of y'all will say, man, he ain't fight nobody, or he fought people when they wasn't in their prime. If I put you against 50 bums, you gonna lose before 50, just off the chances of winning 50 times. You get my point? Meaning a lot of y'all don't consider that. You won 50 fights, what's the big deal? I put you in a ring with 50 bums that can't fight, and you are a skilled fighter, and you gonna lose at some point, just cause. That's more likely to happen. If you're fighting 50 times, most people ain't gonna fight 50 people and win. All 50. And so do you get my point? He got a great deal to stand on. He still ain't lose. Whether y'all respect that or not, how do somebody who has done something that y'all can't do, you get my point? It's the works. That has nothing to do with, you can't beat up 50 people and not feel like, yeah, I'm the best. At some point you have to get real. You say, okay, that's just the confidence of having won 50 times. And there's no getting around that. There lies the truth. You follow? Now you could take one of these newer fighters. They have ego because they ain't fight anybody. You follow? And if you look at the newer fighters, the only one that's actually doing something is Devin Haney. The rest of them, a lot of y'all don't realize it, but Tank career is over. If you consider his age, that he didn't fight nobody. His career technically over. If Devin Haney leave 135, ain't nobody in 135. And he ain't gonna last that good in 140, 147. And so do you get my point? Him playing and avoiding fights, because Ryan Garcia don't count for nothing. That was just another dumb fight. So do you get my point? He don't have no belts. He about 30 years old. You think at the age Tank at, he gonna get 250 fights? Or retire before then? That part. And look at the rest of the young fighters. They don't fight enough. They not gonna get the 50 fights by the time they 40, like Floyd did. Or the older fighters. He 45 and something by the time they like hit it. 30, 40, I mean. And so the point I'm making is works. Hopefully y'all grasp that. Don't confuse confidence with the many expressions of ego. It's a big difference. Now in the daytimes, a lot of people high in the envy. This is the ego. And so it's a lower vibration. You want to make sure catch the envy with self. When you start to become aware when you become envious, you may have to word it another way to yourself. You know how people are. They'll say, I ain't jealous. Let's say like if you see someone's success and it bothers you because you feel like, man, I've been grinding a long time. I deserve that more. Any scenario like that where somebody else's success, someone else's success bothers you or disturbs you or something like that, you want to kind of check that. That's the resistance playing its part in your own successes and failures. You get my point? Because all you have is self. And whatever thoughts or feelings you have for others, the self can just manifest for the self. And so you want to make sure you keep the mind clear. You can physically afflict someone, but in terms of wishes and desires, all you can do is wish and desire for your own self. Even if you're doing it for someone else. Say, man, I hope this person fails. Right in that moment, you probably failing. Meaning the thought is deriving from the failures of self. And you get my point? Your life force cannot determine anything outside of the self that you wishing that for someone else and not yourself. All it can do is manifest as you will. And so a lot of hardships and negative thoughts that we hold for others, well, not we, y'all, I'm pure, but a lot of negative thoughts that y'all hold for others, it manifests for the self. And you're not being aware of that, so you get my point? you rack on more and more damage. You want to get to a place where you're happy for others. But that's only going to happen when you're happy for yourself. And you can't base and wait for your happiness to kick in. Your happiness probably being some monetary thing and some new status. You can't wait for that to be happy. You got to be happy before that, so that doesn't kind of spoil you the happiness. And so, become aware of the different emotional states and the different vibrations they set the self on. You get my point? That envy will evolve into, you know, deeper levels of hate. And so, try to be aware. Now I'm about to try and get into this video. Hopefully you guys grasp that that's real. Follow? Everybody gets envious. It may not even be of the person. It can be of their circumstances. You could just be a little bothered with your reality and everything's starting to aggravate you. All of this is normal. It's just the self giving the self a little discomfort so you can get going. Meaning any negative feelings we get, of course we place it on others because all we do is project out since birth. You was born, you loved out. You saw out. You follow? First thing you loved was your mother or father because that's what you seen. You wasn't born into life looking right in front of a mirror to build a relationship with the self first. And know the self first and begin, you get my point? You put that kind of care outward. And for most people, you get my point? It's never brought in the awareness. In that, love is projected out, seeing is projected out, you get my point? And so, when you feel these different lower vibrations, you know, envy, hate, or any negative vibration, you're going to attach it to someone else out. Not the self, because like I said, from birth, you've been projecting outward. You see everything but self. No one's walking around with a mirror, so you get my point? The way the mind works, everything is projected out. If you cause a problem, it's more than likely you're going to look for someone else as the cause. Follow? Because the mind is already on the vibration of projecting outwards. In that, we apply nothing to self. We never truly look at self. We never do inventory on self. And then you get my point? All the negativities of self has a place to evolve, plant, blossom, become our character. And all characters have to play out in their script or role. So you don't want to distort the characteristics of self. Are y'all following? I see you all on as I peace and wisdom chant. And so you want to become aware of your negative emotional states, especially the envies. This is a powerful one. You want to reflect every evening if you can. And kind of use those emotions that we do get. Don't view them as bad, like you have to ignore them. They're signs to self. Animals still move on their instincts, so this is how it works for them. If you ever wonder, like, how do animals know things and their instincts are so good? When you feel envy about someone or someone makes you feel insecure, this thing or that thing, that's your instincts for self. I need to do this or I need to do that. If you feel insecure around someone, that means you need to raise your confidence. You follow? You're a little insecure. You have to understand what confidence is, what arrogance is. You follow? You always going, you as a person, you're gonna always, you can go to the extremes of self or to the lows of self, but you have to know when. You get my point? And everything has to be applied to self. You're around someone, you like, damn, I feel a little insecure. This is your sign that you need to either abandon the environment or raise your confidence. All is a sign of self. Let's say you get envious of somebody. This is just a sign of self. I have to work more. I'm not happy with my circumstances. Whatever it is, it all starts with truth with self. So you have to get comfortable with that, you know, being truthful with yourself about your emotional state and why it's that way. In that, you can start applying these negative emotional states that come upon us sometimes and use them as instinct to better the self or protect the self or however you want to view it. Not sure if that makes sense. You may be in a bad environment, and this is why you feel insecure, and so you follow, you need to abandon it. But like I said, we project out, so you may view it a different way. But try and grasp. Are you guys following? Thanks for the thumbs up and all of that. If anyone wants to give back, you can do so by clicking on the title of the video. Now let's get into this deep deep parts. We got the matrix. The matrix is your number system or your number grid system that's used in computer imagery. So if you're familiar with computer imagery, they have like a 0 and 1 numbers grid system. And different sequences of zeros and ones is what makes for the imagery y'all see on the screen. Then you change the sequence of those numbers, you change the imagery. Follow? So the matrix, in terms of that, and I guess even the movie, but I'm just speaking on reality. This is the matrix, you know, a binary code system, or a number thing. Helps to create a reality. Now, that same thing is used in the city grid, meaning the city grid line is a number system. You follow? And it's used to bind man to the city like a mice in a maze. So the same way you have the number system controlling the reality, you know, in regards to the computer and the image you see, and how it draws your attention to it. The cities y'all live in, they have a grid system, you know, streets, blocks, avenues, so on and so forth. A grid system. But most don't know that it's a number grid system. This is why all the homes have numbers, and the streets too. It's a number grid system, no different than the computer thing, you know, your biomathematics. And that's used, like I said, to bind man like mice is in a maze. Meaning y'all are prisoners of y'all cities. Through psychological bindings. But you gotta grasp, in the past or early city, it had high walls, entry gates, and this was to keep the people of the cities, you know, prison. Meaning most of you guys probably view an early city and its gates and its walls as a system to keep everything in the city safe. It had to do with keeping all the people in the city prisoner to the city. Otherwise, they escape the city to the wilderness. The city is built right in the wilderness, right outside the city gates. You either got your beach leading out to the ocean or the wilderness, where your indigenous tribes would be. And so most of your attacks against cities had to do with like indigenous tribes attacking the cities to try to free what we would call citizens now. But these would just be people that was just caught up in that city while it was being developed. Some even kidnapped and brought into it. But a city has always been a prison. And so, think like your early plantations in America. They being raided by like the Native Indians. Like that. The slaves on the plantation is kind of like kept prisoner. It's their life, they used to it, so they may not even see it that way. But technically they held prisoner. And you get my point? And most of the attacks against the plantation had to do with that part. The letting of them go, whether they want to or not. And so you get my point? A city was always a prison. It had prisons inside of it, but the city itself is a prison. Now, of course, things evolve. You can't just force people like times of old. It starts revolts. So you want to make things mental. You know, the mental lasts longer. If I can bind you mentally, that's going to last longer than me trying to physically bind you. You're going to keep fighting until you eventually free self some kind of way. But if I can bind you mentally, meaning getting you to see things my way some kind of way, even if it ain't that good for you, this is best. And so this is what the city's grid system is about. It's the understanding of biomathematics, your number grid system, you know that thing. Series of zeros and ones to make forth the picture or the image. The same way the city has, you know, series of numbers to make forth the city's grid system. It's still a numbers thing. It's still a biomathematics thing. So, don't get it twisted like this is an analogy. The same biomathematics is being used in a city's grid system or matrix system, which is like your computer number system. Binary coding thing. Now, the early times before cities that we know of now, there was a lot of studies done on mice in mazes. Now you want to pay attention to all studies that have to do with mice, rabbits, monkeys, and pigs, because they test on them for man. Meaning whatever they testing on them animals, they testing on them animals so they can do something to man. Before those times, you had sorcerers. Meaning before you had scientists, you had sorcerer. A sorcerer is just the ancient word for scientist. And the scientists are a sorcerer of the past. They used rabbits as their guinea pigs. This is why when you're dealing with magic, which is sorcery, we're not speaking magic tricks so much. Magic tricks just being a child version of a deeper magic or sorcery. Of course, a scientist is a magician. If you don't know how to make lights and all of that, not gonna light your whole city up, because I understand you follow magic. Everything y'all have is magic, but it's science. You watching me on your phone how you are now is magic. It's the result of science, sorcery. Like I said, in ancient times, that word sorcery had to do with scientists. They didn't have our word for scientists in the past. Meaning they didn't call someone who knew science, scientists. They didn't call science that. They called it sorcery. course, God is the source. You're dealing with alchemy, the mixing and merging of different. Alchemy is chemistry, so you're dealing with the mixing and merging of things on different levels. Meaning you can mix sounds and create language. This is word. Words ain't nothing but the merging of sounds. You follow? You have your vowels, this is your sounds, and then you have your consonants. This is all the other letters in the alphabet. They help to change the sound. Put a B in front of an A, you get ba 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 instead of ah. Help to change the sounds like music. But the point I'm making is you can merge sounds and create languages. You can merge lights or atoms, which is one and the same, and create different substances, liquids. If you lost, when it rains, the rain evaporates, and you see the rainbow. The colors that merge to create the substance. Those colors being the atoms in the air. You don't see the atoms in the air, but you see the light, the rays of it, so to say. Kind of like the particles of the sun. That makes for the dust in your house. So if you got dust in your house, that's just sun residue. At daytime, the sun's rays is blasting through your window. Sometimes y'all can see it. And that settles as all the dust over time. So you might have dust on top of your TV. In ancient times when you're dealing with witches, dust and spider webs was very important things. Now you know what dust was. Basically physical sunlight. Light settled. If you lost, fire is light. As it's burning out, so you get the residue. You get my point? Like that. You get the residue of the light. The soot. Think like a chimney. You get the soot. So, sunlight, dust, like the soot. Now, what the hell? Y'all can y'all see that? Oh, I think that is strange. Aliens. I know y'all love it. Now, are y'all following? Are y'all there? Y'all like, I know y'all here, so y'all commented that I need to save young Pharaoh. Stylish young Pharaoh is sick, you have to save him. He's saving niggas' blood. I'm like Malachi Mo. If he dies, he dies. I don't have anything to do with him. I don't save people. They have to go. They have to go. Like, I'm just playing. Salam, shalom, peace and wisdom, brother Bari. Okay, you following, y'all grasping. So like I said, you have your many different chemistries on the level of sound, light, that's atoms. If you're speaking science, atoms. If you're just speaking in layman's terms, different states of air merged together, warm air and cool air, and you get liquid. But within them airs, you have atoms. So when the water evaporates before it goes back to just air, you kind of see the rainbow, or the lights are the atoms that kind of merge together, creating the substance. So this is all divine wisdom. You know, I'm nature's servant. And anything that has to do with real life, I know what it is. If you ever wonder, like, what is a rainbow? So now you know. Anything else you ever wondered what it was? I'm the splendor. I know everything. I don't. I'm sorry. Now, you had early study on mice. with maize. And this study had to do with man, like I said. Early times of sorcerer. This is an ancient scientist. He used rabbits as his test subject. This is where you get the rabbit out of the hat in regards to magic. Comes from that. So if you ever wonder, what does a rabbit have to do with the hat in regards to magic tricks and pulling the rabbit out of the hat? Why is that phrase always used in regards to magicians? In ancient times when sorcery or a sorcerer was your magician. So you may have heard of going down the rabbit hole. References to rabbits. You say, what does a rabbit have to do with magic? But when you're speaking magic, you're speaking science. And when you speak in science, you need a test dummy. It's the white rabbit. And so when they're testing on monkeys, mice, pigs, rabbits, in modern day, keep your ears open. Because whatever they're doing, they're going to apply it to man. They just testing it out on those things first. Scientists think man is... They think white people are pigs. They think black people are monkeys. I don't want to go into the particulars, but that's why. That's like that if you wonder. What do a pig got to do with people? Different animals, different species of peoples. Y'all have to grasp that the animals... Sorry, I'm dying from smoke inhalation. I'm not playing either. I could die tomorrow, this evening. Who knows? The thing is, y'all wouldn't, because I'm glorious. So even on my deathbed, just be like, I'm dying, but I'm the splendor. Then I get back to the deep wisdom, and y'all be like, I think he capped it. I'm not sure. But if you heard my cough, you know I'm not playing. Smoke inhalation, I'm coughing up weird, strange things. Like I said, I had my window open, so it's kind of my fault a little bit. I don't like watching the news because the news is mad negative. I was growing up, the news keep you on point for what's going on. Now the news just negative. They just keep talking about all the negative shit that happened or is to come. And I ain't got time for that. That's the kind of shit that make your lips dry. Like I said, the smoke isn't the reason why my lips are dry. My lips are dry from that Gold Peak iced tea. Don't drink that. I'm telling you, they are doing something with that. Don't stay away from it. It's addictive too. Stay away from it. That shit is poison. But I can't stop drinking it. Shit turned my teeth brown like tobacco. I had to go to the dentist and get a cleaning. She said, what you was doing? I said, man, I was drinking that Gold. I was drinking 12 packs of that Gold Peak for 4 days straight. That shit's like real tea. Tea and coffee ain't healthy, man. Not on your teeth. So I gotta go get another cleaning. Because that shit is powerful. But it's delicious. I think like a crackhead at the supermarket on that Gold Peak. So y'all ain't got no more of that gold. Come on, y'all ain't got no more Gold Peak. Go in the back and check. Start shaking. Come on, man, I need it. They always finds me one. You know, it's like they want. Like I said, the world already ended in 2020. It's a process. 7 years old. Micro to macro things. A split second on the macro is a long few years on, our level. Try and grasp. Meaning if the solar system, which is a body, dies, it's not on our time, it's on a more macro time. Kind of like a second in our time is probably like a whole hour in cell time. And so you get it, when you die, this is why your cells is still alive, because they ain't trickled down to them yet. Your time is massive. One of your seconds is like a whole day for them. It's a lot of time. And so it's the same on our level, you get it? 1 minute on a solar level would be like 7 years our time. In that, if the solar system died, shit, y'all wouldn't know until 7 years later. That would be the end. And the beginning of the 7 years would be the beginning. It's a very deep thing, but try and grasp. Now, where was I at? Studies on mice and mazes. I'm forgetting something. Thank you for the give and receive. Salam, shalom. Like I'm forgetting something. I was explaining. It was important. But in any event, you have sorcery of ancient times. Now you know what rabbits is for. Better understanding of alchemy, which is just chemistry on the unphysical levels. This is dealing with your sounds, the merging of your different smells. You say, what do the merging of different smells do? Smell is air, so within the air you always have your different atoms, depending on the air, its dew point, its smell, etc. This makes for different atoms. You merging airs, whether it be sounds, which is airs, or smells. You follow? You're manifesting a substance, so chloroform is a substance, but it's a merging of smells. Throw the rag over your nose with the chloroform in it, and you knock you out. Some smells can make you sick and make you vomit. Some smells can make you better. You laughing gas is a smell. You follow? There are different kind of smells. Shit and incense get some of y'all high, you just don't realize it because it's a light high. So smells, powerful. But the merging of sounds, the merging of smells, the merging of liquids. This is when you add chemistry now. Alchemy is, like I said before, the physical. Peace and wisdom, neo-Jews divided into 71 Christians, divided into 72 Muslims, divided into... Salam, shalom. Don't take offense, but a lot of y'all, this is the effects of like numerology and the stupidities of the time. When you hear people speaking in numbers like that, deeply afflicted, heavily brainwashed. The numbers just a system. Makes sense without it. What are you talking about? Life ain't a math book. So whatever you're explaining, it don't have nothing to do with what you're saying. Don't take offense. Think on what I'm saying if you're somebody that like to explain things like that. Say, look at the numerology in the thing. Makes sense without the numbers. Whatever you explaining, you get my point? It don't have nothing to do with numbers. You're using numbers to make a point. But what's the point? Some of y'all get what I'm saying. You like, he's right. After they do all the number talk, but what was the point? And now explain it without the numbers. You can break a year into 365 days. You could break that into 12 months. You could break those 12 months into 52 weeks. You can break those 52 weeks into a year. Whatever the hell you want. But what are we speaking about? That part. One day. And now what are you trying to say in regards to that day, which has nothing to do with numbers? This is just how we dissected it. To understand that part. You see how you have no answer? You're probably a little lost too. Like, I don't even know what the hell to say. Like that. Numbers scramble y'all brain up. then y'all be battling about numbers, talking about 11, 11, and all of this weird shit. But what are you talking about? In reality, because that's what you have to live. And wisdom don't stop at somebody that could do math. Math is just curriculum that come with the city. And so when you consider all of that, you say, okay, life, yeah, life, you got little kids, motherfuckers that never learn nothing. You telling me life saying they can't learn unless they learn nothing? No. And so you know right there, wisdom or the truth of things don't have nothing to do with numbers. A baby would need to understand, or a child would need to understand life. You should be able to explain life to that child. Those numbers are going to scramble his brain up. So how do you explain it to the child without the numbers? That part. Can't. They're lost in the numerology, which is the sorcery to tangle the brain up. This is why we live by months, weeks, years, and you have all the holidays to keep y'all bound to that cycle. It's a revolving cycle. If you can create a circle, you can bound someone mentally to it. Follow? Now, you have 7 days of a week. This is a circle or a cycle. Y'all are bound to it. You go to work for 5 days, and for 2 days, you try not to do too much because you know I got to go back to work. So we keep you bound to a certain cycle mentally. If someone comes along and says, I want to take you on a trip, you say, I have to check with my cycle first. And so do you get my point? It becomes a deep thing when you're dealing with numerology, when it's done accurately. Not the things y'all speak of, like 12 this and how he was doing. But this is how numerology really works. You get a number pattern and you bound someone mentally to it. Y'all are bound to numerology that represents gibberish. So y'all gibber. But do you get my point? You have many different cycles of this thing. And so, kind of grasp. Give me 1 second, please. And keep me on point on where I'm at. End of the video. I've returned. Keep me posted, please, on where I'm at. If you still in here, still in here, Marco Salvarez. I'm getting your order together. For the rest of y'all can visit wiseservant.org or upscaleknowledge.org. It explains a lot of the things I'm speaking of right now in this book. Meaning if you're intrigued by the things I'm saying in this video, this book, don't get lost into the... Y'all got a lot of fools talking today, so casting roots and y'all have false understandings of things. But this book should help you get a crystal clear perspective of what magic is and how that evolved into the magic tricks y'all have, and then it being under a different name called science. So you have sorcery becoming what we know as science, which is the same thing. And then you got the games with it. This is your magic tricks, like your kid version of science. Way of the wise servant, and some Wraith ninja knowledge in there. And this is the spirits in the spine. Like I said, I'm getting your order ready now. I'll send it out probably Friday. That was the point. I was Like I said, the rest of you guys can visit wiseservant.org. If you somebody that has a YouTube channel, I'm a legend. Nobody gets more money than nobody gets more money than me on here, you know. And it's the same if it was the streets. I'd out hustle y'all there too, because my butter's always the best. The point. And I'm just playing out interruption a little bit. It's fun. I ain't making no money. I know, I bet you I'll be in the post office every goddamn day. I bet you that. But on the real level, if you a YouTube blogger or something like that, the button is loose on your shirt. I don't want to hold you, champ. Whole shirt was open. I ain't even got it off. I ain't got a button, but I ain't gonna hurt nobody feeling that six pack showing and all that. You feel me? So I try to just button like, you know, this one and another one. But thank you. You right, my stomach was showing. It's okay though, my shit sexy, so I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm 41. Just wanted. You think he all that? Yeah, I'm 41. I'm all that. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Nah, I'm just playing. If you got a blog channel, I mean a YouTube channel, and you have a website, you can hook your website up to YouTube, run ads on your website, and monetize on your website like you do on YouTube. And that, if you got a brain, so that's different income. Those other things, you know. My monthly YouTube check be like 50,000. I'm a legend. I'm just playing. Let me not even say that. You niggas be hating. What? What? We gotta blackball this nigga some more. The fuck? I'm just playing. I don't make no 50,000 a month. Y'all know that. Get real. Now, where was I? Deep wisdom. Seriously, what was I speaking of? Alchemy, chemistry. Many of you guys remember I asked you guys to try to keep me I was explaining how numerology really works. I mean, you have a lot of people in the daytime, they pretend they know astrology, this thing or that thing, and they're afflicted by the numerology. This is why they speak in a number jitter. But if you be like, get the numbers out of here, just explain yourself to me simply, so I can kind of grasp what you're talking about. They can't speak outside of the curriculum. They're lost in it. But like I said, you have the 7 days of the week. This is basically a numerology. Numbers creating a circle, people being bound to it. So y'all go to work for 5 days, for 2 days. I'll try not to scurry away too far because y'all like I got to go back to work. Mentally y'all bound. Somebody can offer y'all something that's greater than your work. You just have to take the chance to go. And a lot of people will say, nah. The sorcery that's strong, meaning 7 days of the week is that strong. They don't even see it's a whole pattern. They live 4 circles in a month. That's what strengthened the week. 4 of it, repeatedly, binding the person into that monthly cycle. Now the months are just small circles to make up the year being a circle, bounding y'all to a year. And every year y'all celebrate the same holidays every year, like y'all program robots. No one ever says, yo, we do the same shit every year. New Year's Eve, no, Christmas, New Year's Eve, you follow? Valentine's Day, and it never stopped over and over. You got people 75 years old, they celebrate these days year after year, never saying like, damn, this is getting redundant. This is like a never-ending retard path. Why haven't I made up my own holidays? I've been here long enough. Fuck the city, what they talking about? I make them my own. Got my own important days and accomplishments and things. That never happened. Y'all bound to the city's sorcery, which is that numerology. Like I said, when you're dealing with the city grid system, it's a number grid system. So all the houses got numbers, all the streets got numbers. Y'all don't really understand numerology in its truth. Y'all understand numerology from like whoever's online explaining it that really don't know what they talking about. Like I said, y'all lost in the gibberish. Y'all under that numerology spell. But now you get to see the difference between y'all BS talk and like the numerology and sorcery that the government is putting on the people. Follow? They bounding y'all to cycles of numbers. In that, y'all won't even leave y'all city. I could tell some of y'all right now, we going to Mexico tomorrow, I'm going to pay for you and everything included. And you going to say, I got to go to work tomorrow. I cannot just go to Mexico and have fun for 3 days and then lose my job. That is stupid. It is stupid when you consider it from your bound perspective. But if you look at it like when I get to Mexico, that's going to create a whole different, you get it? That's a whole different life now. But you're bound to your city, its grid system. So in that perspective, you say, no, this is just a 3-day vacation. There is no up and just going. You see how y'all live in this earth? This earth is y'all whole playground, but y'all do not go anywhere. In terms of living. So I've been here long, I'm gonna just up and live in Russia now. And I'll be here until I decide I want to up and live somewhere else. Oh, I gotta charge this thing. I apologize. Might not even make it through. But hopefully I'll catch it. Damn, what is them? What is those things? I probably can't see this, so I don't worry about it. African fly still in here too. Unknown concepts that you're right. Of course I'm right, chick. Well, I'm not. That ain't got nothing to do with ego. Y'all clocking here, thinking I'm gonna be wrong. There ain't nothing wrong I gotta talk about. I say just the truth. Y'all just don't want to hear it. The numerology and astrology y'all talk is not real. It's already on y'all. The astrology that's on y'all, I just explained with all the holidays y'all celebrate every year and then like dodo birds and just do it every year. See how it got y'all dumbed out? It's tied into the pride. Everybody's proud. Nobody wants to be a dum-dum. That they notice something so stupid like that. It's like that. It's a sorcery, a number system. You get someone to learn it. You get a couple of holidays, you know, celebration days. Man, like to celebrate. Like a kid. Worship this thing with me. I'll give you cake and candy. Okay. Like that. So you follow? Y'all bound to number systems. Weeks. Month. Yeah. The thing is, there's only one day. Remember? The sun rises and the sun sets. And that's the same day every day. And you can convince yourself anything you want. No, there's 7 days, and then there's 30, and then there's 365. You can make all the days, you can make a millions of them. But there's only one day. The same repeating day. Meaning man is bound to a day. And this is the realization he don't want to come to that conclusion that he's stuck. You follow? If you lost, the sun rose today and is set. And it's still the same place. Ain't nobody flipping days like pages. Like, it's just a place where the light come up and go down. And then the next day it come up and go down. Depending how warm or humid it is, it may make for rain or snow. But in regards to the place where this thing is raising and setting, that same place every day. You can name it 50 different things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a week, whatever. It's only one day, the same place. Y'all bound to it. Do you follow? I'll say that again. Y'all bound to it. Y'all try to escape it by going to sleep. You say, I'm going to escape the day by sleep. And like, as a mind or a soul, you leave it. But you get blocked at the door, you know, at the black darkness, unconsciousness. And then it send you back here. These is the deep aspects of life that y'all don't grasp. Y'all lost in all the stupid YouTube talk. But in real life, you trapped in the day. This is the beginnings of real religion. And the real freeing of self. But to give y'all a quick brief. Stuck in the day. And that day is a deity. But you're stuck in one day, and you can name it as many days as you want to get through that reality, which is you stuck in a day and you don't know how to leave it. Even as a soul, you as a mind or a soul, this is not physical, this is just air, space. And when you leave the day, you come back. Shit, sometimes you end up in dream. This is the same as this place. Like that. Wherever you go, you get popped right back into earth, or what is a day. And so you follow. Man, start counting them. You start counting the same thing over and over. 1, 2, 3. It wouldn't matter how many number systems you make. So it's still just a day. And everybody trapped into it as a physical body, as a spirit. This is the emotional state. This is the dream realms of self. And everybody bound to it mentally. This is the unconsciousness. The unconscious mind evolves into the dream state mind. The dream state mind evolves into awake. Of course, awake aligns with physical. The spirit body or spirit mind, it aligns with the dream. And then of course you have the mind or the soul itself, which is covered in its unconscious body, causing it to go unconscious. And this is the three bodies are the Trinity, the Trinity. That man is bound by. You follow? Meaning y'all bound by a mind body. This is the unconscious darkness. Y'all bound by your spirit body. This is the substance of self, the seminal fluid that we all start as. And all life forms start as their own seminal fluid. This is your cloud, your Holy Ghost. Substance of life, heaven. Heaven and nirvana, because you know you get the substance from orgasm, bliss. So it's coming from its space or its place, it being like what it's coming from. Then of course you have the physical body. You as an awareness, you're bound to all three. You just flip-flop in and out of all three. And when you come back to the physical, you be like, oh, it's a new day. The day ain't go nowhere. You did. You keep counting the days. The same day, and you left however many times you did. You get it? You 10? 10 times 365. That's 3,650. That's how many times you left this day and came back. Or you could say that's how many days you've been here. But like I said, it ain't that many days. It's just one day. And you leaving and coming back to it all those times. So everything is perspective. But the main point is, you know, you learn it from people online. Separating myself and a small few others that's really wise. Y'all getting dumbed out. Things y'all teaching is the same things y'all bound, are the same sorceries and things already put on y'all. When I say y'all, I mean, you know, the people as a whole. By the government or those that rule. And so, always keep that in mind. Now let's get to the Mises maze. I believe that's where I'm at with this. Other than that, to the brother that commented with the number stuff, that's fool's talk. You can take it for that or not. That's on you. But I mean, you didn't seem to have anything you could say after I spoke. So hopefully you grasp whatever you went to. That's not real, champ. That's just for talking. But you still gotta live in life, and everything you saying got to make sense to you in real life. You can't just be saying like 12 and 14s and this and that. Okay, where is this going? What's the point? Life ain't a curriculum thing. It's a nature thing. Nature don't speak in curriculum. Nature speak in examples. Like I said the other day, you have the tides. The tides separate the comings and the goings. You got the river tide, it comes, it goes. The tide is what's controlling that coming and going, that duality. Same with day and night. Day comes, then it goes, but it's the tide that's controlling that coming and going. Same with a woman's menstrual cycle. It's a tide, the coming of ovulation and the going of it. This is the evolving of the egg within her and then the washing away of it. But it's still a tide. You follow? The comings and goings of a thing, and the creator is the tide, or the unseen force that controls this comings and goings of the duality. You follow? Of course, I was explaining to you guys how that's nature's example to us, that we have to be the tide, not the duality, what is coming and going. You have to remember, when you're dealing with the duality, you're dealing with the same thing. Or when you're dealing with the tide, you're dealing with the same thing. There's no night and day. There's just the coming of the sun and the leaving of it. There's no high tide and low tide. There's just the coming of the waters and the going of it. It's just one thing coming and going. When you're speaking of a woman's menstrual cycle, it's just the coming of her waters, or the egg, and the going of it. You follow? It's not two separate things getting its chance. It's one thing flip-flopping in its nature, coming and going. But there's something controlling that. So let's call that nature, or the tide. When we speak in life, the unseen creator, controlling the tide, or the coming and goings. Nature shows you all those examples, you know, the planting of the seed and the harvest. This is a tide. Put the seed below, and then the coming forth of it. Like that. You have that balance system, that tide system. Man eat the fruit of what blossomed. It's coming from the soil. He eats that. He has to give back soil out his ass. Doo doo. Stink too, but stay focused. You have that tide in life. Nature shows man flush and pull, push him. There you go, inhale, exhale. You know, man steals oxygen. He's a carbon being himself, not oxygen. He steals oxygen. He tries to keep it if he could, but he can't, so he has to give it, you know, carbon of himself back. It's equal trade. Man breathing oxygen, give out carbon. Plants taking that carbon. Plants taking that carbon, they pass it on to the dead. This is the tie between the living and the dead. Of course, they turn it over into sugars for the dead. If you lost, the plants come out the ground. So you got a tie between many things, the living and the dead. The plants, it's like the tie between the two. Like the unseen creator. Meaning most of y'all don't know that. Say, what's the plants to tie between the living and the dead? Go take DMT. That's a plant. And then you're going to end up in the dead realms. Talking to elves and shit. Talking about I had an experience. Yeah, you went dead. It's a tie. This is old sorcery, deep wisdom. You ain't going to get it no more refined than here. Meaning that's your real life reference. It's so funny. Yeah, make sure y'all don't laugh too much and y'all get the knowledge though. That doo-doo stink, I know what you laugh. I know what you laughing at. Doo-doo stink, but you got that tide. I don't want y'all to just get lost on the river, the rising sun, and they go deeper than them tides. They go to tides y'all don't know of, like the living and the dead. Now the plants is the tide in between those. You take certain plants, shit will send you into the dead realms to stay. And some of them you come out of it. If you lost, you got poisonous plants. Take those, you won't come out of it. You can dilute them though, and then you might come out of it. So DMT and all the hallucinogenic drugs or plants are poisonous. That's why you got to microdose these things. Somebody taking ayahuasca or DMT, they taking microdose. If you lost and you say they ain't poisons, take a proper dropper. Since you know so much, go bite a whole peyote cactus. This is what DMT is. Since you know so much, I bet you die. That part. The psychedelics are poisons. They're just diluted some to make 4 hallucinogens or psychedelics. It's your plant wisdom. Meaning all the plants is the same. Medicines. Really strong ones or potent ones is called poisons. The ones that ain't so potent, but they potent still, they call medicines. And the ones that ain't potent that much, it's called food. Y'all addicted to food. It's just medicine. And y'all don't eat that food, y'all start getting stomach pains and delirium kicking. The man naturally crazy in his nature. Food keep him from being a lunatic. A screaming, raging zombie running around looking for something to kill so he can eat it. So, you got many aspects of this. I said I took 5 grand of shrooms once and was definitely in the dead realms, now that you say it. Yeah, shrooms all the plants, like I said. They the tide. If you know the alchemy between them, like mixing this one with the next one. So you have many different realms of the dead. You have to know the recipe to get there. So mixing this substance or this plant substance with that plant substance will bring you to a specific realm. Merge 3 and they bring you somewhere else. Switch the arrangement, bring you somewhere else. Think like the computer imagery. You got a series of zeros and ones. Change the sequence of the zeros and ones, you change the picture. Change the mixture of the plant drugs, and bring you somewhere else. So that's how hallucinogens work. Like I said, this is ancient sorcery. You can get that Kabbalah book, it explains it, more thoroughly than I'm doing now. I'm not even supposed to be explaining this in this video, but call it a truth. And so you have those tides in life, like I said. And nature's giving man an example. Don't be the flip-flopping thing or the coming and going thing, which is the dualistic thing. But be the stable thing that is controlling this coming and going. Be like the creator. Don't be coming and going in your ways, lost in your own duality, like the examples you see. But be the controlling force that controls the tides, or the comings and goings. Now, when you're dealing with the comings and goings of the tides, they are just the source of one thing. Meaning the sun rising and then leaving. A woman's menstrual cycle coming and then going. The river coming and then, low tide, high tide. These different tides are comings and goings. They're all expressions of one thing. You follow? Meaning you got one thing coming and going. And you got many different perspectives of this one thing coming and going. You get it? The good news of the thing coming and going. The gift that comes with the thing coming and going. You get it? Like that. It's more than just a comings and a goings, but what is coming with the coming. And what is leaving with it when it leaves. And so now we speak in the Bashir. Glad tidings, good news. This is Islam's understanding of tides, but most Islamic people don't grasp it. What I just explained is what the Bashir is explaining. The comings and goings. Now the sun, that tide, the menstrual cycle tide, the river tide, the seed being planted in the harvest tide. These is all extensions or expressions of the Bashir. Good news, glad tidings. You follow? And the sun rising, and this is light and seeing. This is an expression of that one thing coming and going, which is the Bashir, the bringer of good news. I'm going to explain what the Bashir is, but just stay with me. Now this Bashir, this great coming and going, the source of all comings and goings. These comings and goings we know of is just expressions of this Bashir. The many different aspects that come with this coming and goings are the many different perspectives you can see it from. And so when the sun is rising and then it leaves, that sun time, it's an expression of the Bashir. And it's seen, or it bringing light and awareness for you to see. You follow? And the sun rising and setting, that tide represents that. The Bashir are the good news, the glad tidings. It's coming with the day or awareness. You have a woman's menstrual tide. It's the same as the sun. It's the coming of day. Meaning she's building up, ovulating to get the egg cell, which is the light within her. This is the precursor to the body. You follow? An egg cell is like a primordial body. It will evolve into that if the seminal fluid or the Bashir goes into it. The Bashir, the seminal fluid, I'm going to explain. And so a woman's menstrual cycle coming, the ovulation of it, this is day coming. Then the leaving of it, so you grasp, this is night coming. But all this is just that day being washed away, the exhale. But it's an extension of the sun. If you ever wonder, like, light and warmth is good, but now what are the other gifts of this Bashir, or this great coming and goings? Physical life, not just awareness and warmth, but on another aspect of it, the comings and goings, and you're looking at a woman's menstrual cycle, it represents the gift, or the physical body, the abode that's coming with this Bashir. So the Bashir is good news, glad tidings, but so much more come with this good news, glad tidings. This good news, glad tidings being a real physical thing. And all the tides we see and know is many expressions are the many things coming with it. So the sun rising and setting is the light or the awareness that's coming with this good news. A woman's menstrual cycle, which is a tide, is an expression of the abode and the place for this comings and goings. And follow? River tide, water, quencher of the thirst, is coming with the Bashir, or the source of all tides. So it's the same with the planting of the seed and the coming forth of the harvest. This is an expression of the food that the Bashir is. Now, like I said, the Bashir is the seminal fluid. This is the Holy Ghost of the yoke. We all start in that form, male and female, yoke from your daddy's sack. But we all start as that soul, seminal fluid. And this is the Bashir, the bringer of good news. Seminal fluid is place, like I told y'all, is heaven. The sperm cells is flying in that atmosphere. That yolky substance. It's not water or liquid. It's yolk. It's atmosphere. Think like NASA trying to leave our atmosphere and being sucked back in like yolk. Seminal fluid on a larger scale or a macro perspective is atmosphere, heaven, sky. You follow? And the sperm cells are in it flying. These are your fallen angels, you know, ascended masters. But they're raising out of their slumber and brought up into the atmosphere, which is the seminal fluid. If you understand the biology of the body, the prostate releases the substance, the seminal fluid, the atmosphere, heaven. And it draws or catches all the fallen sperm cells up in its yoke. This is why Jesus, when they write of him in the Bible, he speaks in that way. Come into my yoke. Like that. The seminal fluid, that yolky substance, is snatching up all the sperm cells into it. It being life in heaven and sky gives them awareness. So that seminal fluid or that substance is place, heaven. It is also food for the sperm cells. They eat it. You follow? Just like the sun gives us awareness and we can see, it gives them that too. You follow? Food, light. This is the Bashir, the glad tidings. Meaning when a man comes, this is a soul coming out. But this soul is raising up the dead in his loins. And this soul is place, food, light, and awareness. There's so many things, and of course this substance is bound to the egg of the body. And it rises and sets in it, as y'all do. Y'all wake up and y'all go to sleep. The tide of the Bashir, meaning man and woman is just the Bashir inside the body. The substance, the yoke, which is the awareness, the glad tidings, the bringer of good news. Now, the sun rising and setting, that tide, when it happens, the sun don't control that. The same way you don't control your setting and your rising. This is when you wake up and go to sleep. It's a force of life that wakes you up out your slumber. You don't do it on your own. You don't even know you exist anymore. You forgot your kids and all that when you were in unconsciousness. When you get tired and fall into your sleep, you cannot say the second or moment you're going to fall into sleep. All you can do is lay down, knock at the door, and hope you brought in, the good rest. Now, the sun doesn't control its tide. You follow? The menstrual cycle of a woman, which is a tide, the woman don't control it. It's just a happening. You follow? Women have a menstrual cycle, which is a tide, a coming and going of the egg cell, but she have no control over that. It's just something that happens. Just like the sun rising and setting, or man falling asleep and waking up, it's just a happening. And of course, you got the creator behind the scenes controlling that. Plant a seed into the ground and the harvest come back. But the ground ain't controlling that. The seed ether. Man ain't controlling that. He plant that seed, water it, give it sunlight, and he just hope. Now, of course, the source of all tide. The source of all tide is the Bashir, which is the seminal fluid, the substance, the yolk. It comes and it goes. but it don't control its comings and goings either. You know what control the comings and goings of the Bashir? This is the seminal fluid. Man, he God, nigga. Again, woman don't control her menstrual waters. Man control his. You will not see the come if he say no. He the hidden hand, the creator, that control the Bashir. Say, woman is God. No, she ain't. She have no control. Again, if a man say, I ain't releasing my seminal fluid, then it won't be so. The Bashir don't control itself. The Father do. Now do you understand the text? That part. And some of y'all follow things is lucky I wasn't present when y'all was learning these lies. But you would have got truth right in that moment. And whoever you learned them lies from, they would have just been fried out and mad. But if you a man, you got to grasp what you is. The same with the woman. You a lesser half of a great thing. You got to remember that seminal substance got to go somewhere. That Bashir. You follow? It don't get that exhale. It's done. That exhale coming from a woman, meaning that Kaaba, that the place for the soul. If it wasn't no woman, it wouldn't be no body. So these things go hand in hand. But when you get to the fine lines of things, and you understand the tide, and you understand nature, nature teach you what's what. I know man is God when he knows his glory. He's Satan when he doesn't. This is just God laws. You follow? But when he knows his glory, again, you have all those tides, all those comings and goings, and nothing having control over their own comings and goings. Not even the source of all comings and goings, which is the Bashir, or the seminal fluid, the substance of life. But even that's controlled by something. Father. Woman can't control when her menstrual cycle come out. It's just happening. Her tide. Like I said, with man, he control the Bashir. He control if he come or not. Seminal fluid is come. The great coming. The start of all physical life you ever seen. And so, it goes deeper than that, but I'm just giving y'all a perspective. Y'all learning fake wisdom. But that's because it ain't coming directly from nature. I learned directly from nature, life, and its natures. In that, I know man are all the animals in life. Man just one thing. But then you got all these species of animals. Man just one species. A different color, you can put that in a race, but overall, he just one species. But you got all these animals, different species. A dog ain't like a snake, and a snake ain't like a lion. The animals are all the many characteristics, are the many natures of man. You see a man, all men look the same, in that you can't tell the nature of a man. But you got all the animals, they are the natures. You say the natures of what? Man. Man will fall into one of the animal characteristics because the animals are just the natures or characteristics of man. You follow? The animals are the many different evolutions of man. From water to land. You follow? A monkey. You get it? Those types of mammal, last stage before you get the man, but this is all just evolving into a bear and a gorilla, all in stages of the evolution of one thing, this one thing being man. And so all the animals are the many different characteristics or natures that a man can be. Each man being whatever animal or character he is. So man can think, man can talk, he can pretend he whatever he is, but his nature or his instinct will always kick in and you will know what animal he truly is. Some of y'all snakes, some of y'all lions, so on and so forth. This is what you have all animals here for. To give you an example of the natures of men. Otherwise you see men, they all look the same and follow? And so try to grasp, this goes deep. Now, like I said, if anyone wants to give back, you can click the video title. I believe in balance. The tide. The horizon. Grasp as you move. Now, trying to find my place. Let's get back to the point of the video. We have the study on mice. This is the buildings of the grid system that we live in. Meaning your system is on a grid system. The binary code, our number system, all the houses, all the streets, number thing. Just like the computer's imagery. Now before they built this grid line city, that most people live in are bound to. It started with mices and mazes. And they do experience on mices in the maze. Mice get put into the maze, they get scared, they trying to find their way out, they can't find their way out. Eventually they get familiar with the same maze and they know how to find their way out. And so they escape. Then the scientists say, alright, let's add food to the maze. Meaning leave the mice outside the maze. They know their way around the maze now, but they won't go in the maze once they get out of it. Or put food in it and see what they do. Now the mice smart. They know the maze because they got out of it. You get it? So now they don't mind going back in it for a reason because they know how to get out. Now when you leave food all around in the maze, they go into the maze and they take the food and they bring the food outside the maze. Another mice is eating the food. So then you start to notice some of the mice get smart and they hide the food in other parts of the maze. And then they come out. And when they want to eat, they go back into the maze where they hid. You follow? So the scientists are watching the mice. They say, damn, these things is pretty smart. Once they learned the maze, like look what they're doing. They're not taking the food out the maze because they learned from that how the other mice take it. Now they hiding it. Next thing you know, the mice never leave the maze. They start to notice. As you add food to the maze, they don't come out the maze. They just hide the food wherever they want in the maze and stay in it. And just run around in the maze. And ever so often go back to their stash. You follow? In that, the scientists realize, this maze or this grid system is a deep thing. On a psychological level. Meaning, psychologically, this is what happens to mice. Same thing that happened to men. So the early cities wasn't built in a grid like way. You just had the city walls and the gates and they kept the people of the city prisoner, basically. They figured out with the grid system we could keep them prisoner like the mice in the maze where they be prisoner on their own accord. They'll stay in the maze. We ain't got to put no wall up. They'll just stay in there if that's where the food at. Follow? Now y'all live in y'all cities. If somebody say, man, we could leave the cities and go out into, all the rainforests and forest land we have on earth and just find our way. Most y'all was like, I ain't moving now. The supermarket store, all of this right here. The source of everything in the store is out in nature. The meat in your supermarket is the animals out there. The wood you bought at Home Depot, it comes out there. All the fruit comes out there. Of course, they GMO these things now, but I'm just giving you a perspective. Before the GMOs, it was coming directly from The rainforest. The forest. You like bananas? It came from there. Meaning whatever you're buying out of a store, it came from the wilderness. You like leather coats? It came from animal skins. Now, once a person born into the maze or the city's grid system, you can't get them to leave. They say the fool here like the mice. They hide that shit wherever they want, inside their little city or maze, never leaving out of it. That's the science, of the city's grid system, is to mimic a mice's maze to keep y'all bound into the city so they don't have to build walls and gates no more. And so it's a deep thing when you're dealing with the plantations. This was like your first cities when you're dealing with America. Your plantations and, let's say your tribes. This is like your first cities, smaller levels. And so, of course, when you're dealing with a plantation, you got the big house, master's house. Slaves live out back or whatever. Of course, you got the gun line, meaning you got the overseer. He one of the slaves. He makes sure they working and doing what they supposed to. But then you got the gun line dudes. These is the white boys that ride around on horses, beyond the slave's eyesight. And if you go past the gun line, you get murked. Meaning, the white boys riding around on horses beyond the slave's eyesight, they the gun line. There is no gun line. Like, if you cross this line, you did. Nigga, if you go too far out, you gonna see them white boys on a horse that you can't see while you in. And they gonna whack you. They are the gun line. Meaning, when you see them, you're dead. You came too far. You follow? Slaves say, I'm gonna escape this land. 50 acres. The big house up towards the front, they sleep out the back. You start walking 3-4 acres into the property, going beyond the gun line. Where you going? Like that. Now, if they right by Big Master's house, they can't see the gun line or the white dudes riding around on the horses. They can only see the overseer. One of their own bullying them around. That's how that system worked. Like I said, the master's house was the big house. Also known as the White House to all the slaves. That's where that term come for, the White House that we have now. You gotta remember, this place was built off slavery. And so all the morals and values of slavery is still here. And so the White House in Washington, D.C. represent the White House on the plantation. Black people wasn't allowed in the White House, meaning all the slaves on the land was black. And the master and his peoples, they was inside the big house. Master's house. Amongst the slaves, they just calling it the White House. Like, that's the White House. Because only the white people go in there. Master, his wife, the really light slaves that's half white they self. You follow? Ain't no dark-skinned nigga ever going inside the White House. He a field nigga. He gonna sleep and work out in the field. He will never see inside the master's house or the White House because he's not white. I'm saying that so you could grasp. The White House was a real phrase by slaves. A real phrase used during slave times by masters and slaves for the big house. The big house was the White House. And that's where master ran his small little city or plantation. And of course the slaves, they worked the crops or whatever he was exporting back to, other countries and making his millions. He paid them all $5 a month, whatever he do, feed them, house them on the land. And that's how that worked. Then all of those, just view it like this. That whole system just got as big as the whole place now. So a plantation about 50 acres. Well, now the whole continent is a plantation. And y'all still do y'all works all day and y'all have y'all 2 days to yourself. But after that, back to work, buddy. You get my point? Y'all got no access to the resources, everything like a slave. that's everybody. And it gets darker and more, you know. Well, y'all see the smoke flying through the sky and all of that. A city is basically a domestication center for humans. So they're gonna do whatever they want with y'all. They gonna clip y'all. That's called what? Circumcision. They gonna give y'all birth certificates. This is like, you know, proof of ownership over you. Your city's stamp is on your birth certificate, so everybody knows who owns you, whoever owns that city, and so on and so forth. And it goes dark and dark. Slaves is mixed breeded. Before you get to the times we at now, well, our ancestors was mixed breeded or domesticated and then sold, because that's why you do that. You mix breed pit bulls or any animal so you could sell different kinds. Say I have an exotic slave, this shit half white, half black. It's a Puerto Rican. Sell it for more. Has blue eyes, man. Got a black slave with blue eyes. I'm selling that shit for triple. The nigga strong too. I domesticated that nigga right. I domesticated him with a blue eye. And so in the past, man was being sold. So say, hell yeah, I want that one. Put him on an auction block and everybody get the bid. That's where the temp agency comes from. Auction block, bidding for slaves. So it's a deep thing. There you go, off-grid prosperity. We work and all the money goes to food house. There you go. In the past, food in the house was on the house. On the property. Now, it's more space. Master King watched the nigga over in fucking Atlanta, Georgia. The big house is in D.C. But it's okay because now he makes fake money and that represents the resources. And so you don't have to worry about the slaves stealing resources no more. They just do the same thing they did on the plantation, which is this monopoly game thing. Let them work like they always was working, and we just got this monopoly game system. Give them that fake money, let them buy back the resources. You know, we gonna water it down and keep all the good shit for ourselves, but they can buy all the fake imitation shit we make. That's like real resources. You know, fake ass leather jackets that ain't got shit to do with the animals hide no more. Things like that. And so you get it. Let's say y'all fake ass apples in the supermarket. They look perfect. So you know they GMO. They keep the good shit for themselves. And y'all lost into the paper, the monopoly game. In that you keep y'all slaving so y'all can buy more resources. The resource is free. But tell the slaves that. And so that's how all these orders work. Now this goes deeper, but like I said, I'm a little under the weather. Suffering from smoke inhalation. So I have to take a moment now. Lips getting dry. Nose getting stuffy. Throat hurt. But hopefully y'all grasp we live in a sick system. That's the overall point. And many of the things y'all see now, it's just watered down or change of perspective of things of old. Meaning things of old, but y'all perspective just being changed on it. You see like how things in the past happened and then y'all bring it into new times and y'all tell it from a different narrative and try to make the perspective different. Like that. The White House is the same as Master's house, but y'all just choosing in now times to view it however y'all want. Y'all down with the party and voting and shit on Masters, but like I said, perspectives. It all depends on how brainwashed and lost you are. However lost whoever you follow. So try to stay on top of self. Try to do inventory on self. This is the glory. Make any adjustments and fixes that you need to. Now I'ma depart. Y'all be well. Sailor.